Autobots, roll out!
Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of a Ginger Toy Mentor. Sounds a lot like Tormentor, doesn't it? Today we're going to be looking at Perceptor. Let me back this up just a little bit. There we go. And this is one of my favorite Transformers. I saw him and I instantly had to buy him because, you know, there's just something cool about a Transformer actually being useful for something. When I was a kid, I had the Transformer watch. A teacher actually confiscated that from me, but I think I still have the band somewhere. Which, you know, it's really cool to have something that is usable as something else, essentially, right? So it's an object that has a secondary purpose, despite the fact that it's, you know, a toy. And Perceptor is definitely one of those robots that has a secondary purpose. He is a microscope, which is pretty darn cool in my opinion. And let's get him out of his container here, and let's see if we can transform him into his alternate mode. By the back of the box, which you should have already seen at the beginning of the video, it does look like he has a second alt mode, and the second alt mode seems to be specifically his kind of like a tank kind of a mode. It does look like he's held in here pretty good. Not only is he held in here pretty good with the little plastic doojinks, he also has his microscope on the back, kind of folded down, which prevents him from moving. Have I got all of them? No, I have not got all of them. Wow, they really got him like just held in here super well, don't they? I mean, he's got like a million little ties holding him in all over the place. It looks like this one though in the center kind of got wedged in his groin area, because I did actually cut it and I was wondering why it wasn't coming loose. That's because it was wedged in his groin. You know, not a good place to be. This gun is in here pretty darn good. I'm not really quite sure how to remove that without damaging the cardboard. It looks like you kind of have to yank on the cardboard a little bit. And there we go. We got Perceptor's gun. There's so many little pieces of plastic holding in Transformers these days. When I was a kid, it was just in a piece of styrofoam and it just popped right out of the box, and that was pretty much it. So here we got Perceptor. And one thing I have noticed about these guys, these Transformers, is that in the box they're not necessarily set up correctly. So according to the manual here, it's kind of like the TV show that goes on his shoulder, which they couldn't do while he was in the box, obviously, because that would cause some issues. And you know, let's bring this in a little bit closer, point this down so we can get a really good look at him. So this is Perceptor, and I'm assuming that you can still see through the lens. If I put it through this side, can maybe like see my skin cells on the other side. I don't know. We'll find that out. I hope it actually still works as a microscope. That would be really cool if it did. It does seem like you can see through it, although it's a little foggy. It's definitely foggy. I'm loving this arm mechanism on the top there. It's pretty cool. And it also folds out like this. Although it does look like it's supposed to stay like that. It's kind of an odd giant hole in the back of his back. Like literally just, you can stick your whole finger in there and you can just wiggle it around. I'm not really quite sure about that. I mean, I understand that that's where his head's supposed to go, but shouldn't there be something that covers up his head? Like, or the hole, so it doesn't just look like a hole? And now that I've got his head in the hole, I can't get his head out of the hole. What have I done? Ow, okay, there we go. That's a little rough. Just kind of looking around to see if there's anything that might be able to cover up the hole, and it really doesn't look like it. This should fold down, just like the original, right? It does indeed. That's where his, kind of like his mirror is for his microscope. In the old days, you know, before they had fancier microscopes, the microscopes required you to have a little mirror at the bottom, which would shine the light up into the specimen, and he works very similarly. This should technically be the mirror, which I believe it is. I'm not seeing anything else on here like super special as far as transforming him into robot mode, but let's go ahead and put his gun in his hand. According to this, the gun is in his right hand. Looks like to me his right hand. Does that mean that Perceptor is right-handed? Does it? Does it indeed mean that he's right-handed? I don't know. It's a little hard to get in his fist there. It ain't popping out easy, I'm going to tell you that much. He definitely doesn't have articulated fingers, and a lot of these dials and things that are on him don't actually do anything. I could have sworn I remembered in the original the dial actually did something. Moved the microscope in and out. Alright, well, let's go to a fashion shot of him in his robot mode on the turntable, and then we're going to see if we can transform him into his microscope mode, and then after that we'll try and transform him into his tank mode, which seems to be on the box. If you look on the back here, we have the microscope mode right there, and then right there on the side, which is kind of in a smaller picture, is kind of like a tank mode, which looks pretty cool. So he's kind of like a triple changer, I guess.
Autobots, roll out!
Alright, so now let's see if we can transform him into his robot, or this microscope mode. I want to see if I can do this without the instruction booklet first, just simply to see how easy it would be to transform him. It's mainly a test to see kind of like how these transformers actually work when it comes to kids. What I'm interested in is, will they break it? Like, will they know exactly what they're doing? And if they don't know what they're doing, you know, how hard is it to figure it out? I mean, right off the bat here, we've got a very interesting kind of intricate mechanism with the clicking. Looks like this could potentially get worn out, I feel like, over time. So if you were to utilize this too much, I feel like the plastic rubbing against the plastic raw there might eventually cause an issue. Maybe, honestly, it kind of even looks like it might need a little bit of just a tiny bit of lubrication of some kind, maybe some silicone grease or something. Of course, you can't really put that on a toy. And let's go ahead and pop his head back. That's the easiest first thing to do, right? Just pop his head back. We got little tank treads on the inside of the legs, so I'm assuming that means we need to turn the legs outward. Usually you need to put the feet down. So those are pretty straightforward maneuvers. And a lot of the time you got to twist around the centerpiece. So I don't know if that's actually going to do anything. And then we definitely have the kind of like the whole mechanism kind of leaning upward. You know what? Let's cheat just a little bit because you know the kid might cheat. And let's look at the box. So the box has his legs spread really far apart like this. So we spread the legs apart. The feet are definitely facing upward. The treads, however, are not. They're facing inward, it looks like. Unless maybe I'm... well, they're definitely facing inward. So... wow, very intricate leg components here. Like, extremely intricate. I mean, does it really matter if the legs are pointing inward or outward? I can't really find a way to make them not point inward. You'd think that the tank treads would want to be outward, but on the box here, it definitely shows the tank treads on the inside. I mean, you can clearly see. I'm focusing on the wrong thing, I know. All right, so let's see here. This obviously comes down. Both of these components come down. There we go. There's our specimen tray, essentially, right? Our little specimen tray. And then this obviously goes to look at the specimens. And then for the arms, looks to me like the fists fold in, both the fists fold in. Yep, fairly easily. Well, one side was easy. That side had a bit of a click to it. That's interesting. Alright, and then it looks like we just kind of push like this. Does not seem right. I mean, he's close. He's like way back heavy though, like super back heavy. Like, I'm not exactly sure what's going on with his ridiculous back heaviness. He wants to just flip straight over. Let's take a look at the manual, shall we? See if we did anything super wrong. So according to this, the arms actually pull down. And okay. That's interesting. Alright, and then they face upward like this, I would assume. And then the knobs point outward. Apparently there's some sort of little mechanism here. Ah, okay. So the microscope goes into this little piece right here. It's kind of interesting, like it's a locking mechanism. Locks the microscope in place. And then that goes down there like that. Now the microscope is more centered, which definitely makes more sense. Now, as far as the legs go, I seem to have messed something up with the legs. Okay, now the arms, they really kind of click into place now, so that's pretty cool. Alright, let's do some work on the legs real quick, since we seem to have messed the legs up. Turn it back around. There we go. It's pretty interesting. Alright, so let's get a fashion shot of him in the microscope mode. And then once we've got a fashion shot of him in the microscope mode, we're going to change him to his alternate tank mode, which I'm sure is going to be quite interesting. I'm looking for one last thing here, which is like where his gun might go when he's in his microscope mode, and it doesn't really have a place. I mean, there's definitely some spots that his gun could go in the microscope mode, but it doesn't necessarily say on here anywhere. Like a lot of the other ones that I've seen so far, they'll actually specifically tell you where to put the gun. Oh wait, here we go. Okay, so this is the specific place to where to put the gun. So when he's in the microscope mode, it is saying to put the gun right here. A little bit of a tight fit there. There we go. Kind of just doesn't really say which way to point it, does it? I mean, I guess you could kind of just rotate it. No, you can't really rotate it at all because the see the gun has like the clip here, and the clip comes in contact with the arm, and so you really can't put it any other way other than forward. I mean, that's pretty much it. Now the real test, can we actually look through it? I swear it just looks like there's a line, like there's nothing there. I don't know, it seems rather like blurry. I'm not sure if it's because it's just dirty or what's going on. I mean, let me give it a quick schmutzing with my shirt. Not that my shirt is going to make it any particularly better. But let me schmutz both sides real quick. And let's try something really simple like the writing on this. Let's see if I can read the writing. So the answer to the question is pretty conclusively no. Like, you can see something through it, as if it was supposed to be a lens, but it doesn't really work like a lens. I'm not really sure if maybe I've got a bad one or what's going on, but mine is just like, it just looks like a line. I'm not really sure if I can hold this up to the camera and maybe you guys can see the line that I'm talking about, but it's like there's just a line inside the lens, and even when you move it around, like it's like something's blocking the lens inside. And I don't know if it's because like they put something in there in the center. Maybe there's like a screw that goes straight through the center or something. But I could totally see a modification of this unit, perhaps in the future, that involves maybe taking this apart and putting actual lenses inside and making sure that it's clear all the way through so that you can actually potentially see something, as opposed to the basically nothing that it is right now. Alright, let's get a fashion photo shot of him in his microscope mode. And then we're going to get one more of him in his kind of like battle tank mode.
Autobots, roll out!
Alright, so now for his battle tank mode, which is kind of interesting, and it doesn't really seem like there's too much going on here as far as switching him around. So to get him into his battle tank mode, you pretty much just fold him backwards like this. And let's see. And then you flip the legs around the other way. You have to remove the gun, which is, ooh, it's really, This is a really tight gun. Like it's tight in his hand, and it's tight in every single spot they tell you to put it. Alright. And then this apparently goes up. The little notches apparently kind of like sit on top of the leg. Sort of like this. The notches sort of sit on top. That seems to be what they're implying anyway. And then the gun kind of stays in the same position, honestly. The microscope slash gun. And then according to the manual, the gun actually now goes on the side of the microscope. So you might as well take the microscope out because it'll be easier. Put the gun inside the little hole on the side of the microscope, which I'm expecting to be quite a pain in my butt. And yes, it is. Which is kind of really a bad thing, because this arm mechanism on the Perceptor is a little, I mean, I don't want to say it's flimsy, but it's not exactly sturdy. And having to shove a gun into that mechanism like ridiculously hard kind of makes it a little dangerous. So on the arms, it does seem like there's little notches right here. I don't know if you can see that. And then on the corresponding side, there's a small notch on the inside of the leg. So you want to put that basically on the notch. There we go. And this is apparently our battle tank mode. So he's now successfully in battle tank mode, which is kind of cool looking. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little cool looking. It's a little cool looking. So let's get a fashion photo shot of him in the battle tank mode, and that'll be it. I do think he's a pretty cool toy. I am kind of disappointed in the fact that his microscope doesn't work. If I remember correctly, the original one's microscope did in fact work, and really kind of bothers me that it doesn't. I don't know. I mean, the microscope does have like full range of movement though, which is pretty darn cool. I mean, you can pretty much do whatever you want with this thing. The only thing that restricts the movement is when you put the gun on the side, because when you put the gun on the side, then the gun starts hitting stuff. Alright, let's get our fashion shot of it in his Perceptor in his tank mode.
Autobots, roll out!